results of DNA analysis from the Nazca mummies is being reported on by the New York Post. That's right, mainstream media is becoming engaged in serious scientific studies of the Nazca mummies. So we've got to talk about that and a whole lot more. It's time for another UFO News Roundup. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Rude. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, share on social media, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, let's just get right to it. What have we got here? Why don't we go to the immersive viewer so we don't have all those ads. DNA from non-human alien corpses is from an unknown species, analysts claim. The mystery of the non-human mummified remains found in Peru deepened this week when an analyst claimed that 30% of its DNA is not human, but is rather from an unknown species. Of course, we've already heard that some of it is actually ape, some of it's human, some of it's ape, some of it's other. So, but I think different specimens have different results. So I'm not sure if there's one that's just purely human and unknown. But anyway, well, continuing on with the story. Controversial journalist and UFO enthusiast, I just love that name, UFO enthusiast, not researcher, but enthusiast, Jose Jaime Maussan ushered in a team of scientists who performed a DNA analysis of the remains that found 30% of its genetic material is not from any known species. What? Mexican researchers who appeared beside him as he testified before the nation's Congress also claimed the figures were authentic, comprising of just a single skeleton. While it remains unclear what the other 70% of the so-called aliens' DNA matched up with, Maussan argued that the DNA analysis confirms the mummies are definitely not human. This is the first time ET life has been presented in this manner. He said, "We have a clear example of non-human specimens unrelated to any known specimens on our planet. These specimens do not belong to our terrestrial evolution. They were not creatures discovered by a UFO crash. Instead, they were found in diadem mines and later transformed into fossilized mummies." Maussan went on to argue that the public has a right to know about non-human technology and beings. Indeed they do, Jaime. Indeed they do. This reality unites humanity rather than dividing us. We are not alone in this universe. We should embrace this truth. Then it talks about more about the alien enthusiast. But I'll let you read the rest of the article at your leisure, and I'll link to it below. But yeah, so now even the New York Post is covering this stuff somewhat seriously. I mean, Jaime Maussan is a UFO enthusiast, but still, they are covering this and not taking a knee-jerk dismissive tone. So I love it. I hope to see more like it. And I can't wait for more DNA analyses to be done on these specimens. And I can't wait for Western doctors and scientists to get more heavily engaged with this. Because, guys, this is UFO disclosure. This is non-human disclosure. Whether they're 100% alien or not, they are clearly, not from here, right? Or not in any way that we understand. So, whether they're crypto-terrestrials or something like that remains to be seen. But they are, they are UFO disclosure. But only if people are paying attention. I said the other day, they are, possibly an example of what happens when a tree falls in the forest. Does it make a sound? Well, it's starting to make a sound now, guys. It's starting to make a sound. Anyway, let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Meanwhile, Timothy Alberino is back with another video giving us some more thoughts about what is going on in Peru with the attacks from the beings, whatever they are. And I'll let you watch the full video at your own pace, and I'll provide a link to it below. But I just wanted to go over a couple of the things that he said that I thought were particularly intriguing and relevant. And one, that they're not just attacking people in totally isolated areas. They're attacking one village that has like 30,000 people or more. which is a fairly substantial number, especially in that area. So they're not just targeting, individuals in densely jungled areas. They are going after more sizable habitations. Another thing to take away from that, he says, is that the beings aren't trying to drive people away to get to the resources in that area. Whether they're, Scooby-Doo miner types, with putting on masks to scare people away from something, or beings, otherworldly beings, or even the control group trying to scare people away, trying to get access to those resources. Because again, one of these affected areas is a village of 30,000 people, and they are not going to up and relocate because a few people are being attacked. So, so that narrative or that idea, that theory of why these attacks are occurring doesn't make sense. He leans more toward the idea that these are humans, which I think I am more and more inclined to believe as well. Now, he and his guests do point out that their helmets are very elongated, as with the elongated skull people. So, is that just because of technology? They're like regular humans, but with technology in their helmets that necessitates that shape? Could they be the elongated skull people? The Paracas skull and so forth. I've done a video on that recently where I showed that these individuals were all over the world, or at least people that practice skull binding were all over the world, likely imitating either non-humans or hybridized humans, such as what I would imagine the elongated skull people to be. We don't really have a lot of information on who those were exactly, but what if they're back and they're doing something in that area, which we know they were before? I don't know, guys. Just throwing that out there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Meanwhile, Steve Bassett talked to Tim Burchett, and he says, "This is an important update. I have spoken directly with Congressman Tim Burchett, it was a pleasant and revealing discussion. I have received other input as well. Here is the info." That's right, Steve Bassett has the scoop for us. He's got the goods. Now, Congressman Burchett's amendment was not intended to replace the UAP Disclosure Act. Rather, it was to provide some more direct language to augment the extremely complex Senate bill. Congressman Burchett does have issues with the Senate bill. They are honest disagreements. The UAP Disclosure Act will pass, but there is an intense effort to change the language. As mentioned earlier, the areas of engagement are the eminent domain section, subpoena powers in the UAP Review Board. Politics is always but compromise. 4, continue to lobby for the UAP Act to pass as it is. But the one area you should not want to see removed is the White House UAP Review Board. Focus on that. 5, the press conference on Thursday was an authentic effort to demand to demand an end to the abuse of secrecy in the truth embargo. I will keep you updated. Well, thank you very much, Steve, for that update. And I got a lot out of it, and I hope you guys did too. Meanwhile, what's going on internationally? Well, we've seen that Japan and Peru both may be holding their own UFO hearings, but it looks like the UK doesn't really seem to be doing a whole lot. Well, what about Australia? Well, Grant Levick has a little update for us. He says the Australian Defence Minister has responded to my UAP petition with 759 signatures that called for a formal review of UAP and the establishment of an investigatory body to assess the potential national security threats and safety of flight risks that UAP pose. While the response is underwhelming, to say the least, our advocacy and activism will continue. And the response was, I note the petition requests the House conduct a formal review of UAP to consider the establishment of an investigatory body. I can say that. I can say that, guys. Investigatory body to assess the potential national security threats and safety of flight risks. As acknowledged in the petition, the defense ceased handling reports of UAP in 1996 as there was no scientific or compelling reason to continue to divert resources to the recording and investigation of UAP. Really? Wow. Wow. Okay, fine. Whatever. Defense does maintain robust safety and security reporting and management frameworks that are sufficiently flexible to capture UAP. Okay, they've got this covered. They don't need an investigatory body. They really don't. They've got this. They've got the robust safety and security reporting. The Australian government is aware of ARROW. There are no plans to replicate a similar mechanism. Well, why not? ARROW is a disinformation body. I mean, you could make up your own disinformation body, right? You need a blue book. Well, why shouldn't Australia have its own blue book? But I guess that requires some resources. And they say, why bother? Why bother? But yeah, so that is what's going on in Australia, which is not a lot. But, at least they are replying civilly to a petition that was put out there by Grant Levac. Okay, I started the video talking about the little Nazca mummies, but what about the big guys? That's right, the giant tridactyl beings. We only have their hands, but what hands? Those are huge. Those may have belonged to 3-meter tall beings. Well, here's a translation of a slide that I may or may not have already shared with you. I may not have because I couldn't read it, but here is the translation of this, schematic of the hand, including its crazy metal plate. It says the tridactyl hand has 26 bones, and it also has a central intermetacarpal phalangeal bone. I said that right. You know I did. As well as a pair of metacarpals that articulate with each lateral finger. And here we have some comparisons. We have the x-rays, and we also have the comparison to human bones, which is interesting. This is not translated, unfortunately, but at least we can get to see these x-rays of these wild, giant hands. Man, I would love to see what the full beings look like. Were there full beings that were mummified and that tomb raiders have removed and sold to private collectors? Or were only the hands of these beings remaining, and that's what was put in the tombs? I wish I had an answer for that. But yeah, there's one of the hands with that crazy metal, circle. And here's a comparison to humans. There we go. Side by side comparison. Does this thing have more joints? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you count that? I don't know. No, because then you'd have to count that, I guess. All right, so I'm going to say it's got more digits. So even though it only has 3 fingers, they're much longer and there's more digits. So it's going to be much more capable of manipulating stuff, one would think, with these incredibly long, dexterous fingers. Does that make up for an opposable digit? Maybe. I mean, these bodies don't make a lot of sense according to, what we know about anatomy. I mean, the little guys couldn't move their mouths, but they probably didn't eat with their mouths. The gray aliens or the gray beings that many abductees have encountered. Well, there have been several of them, or at least 2 or 3 that I know of, who actually saw them eating. And they didn't eat with their mouths. They were submerged in a fluid, and they absorbed nutrients through their skin. So is that how the Nazca beings did it? Who knows? But at least there is a precedence for little non-human beings not eating with their mouths. But I love it. I love the side-by-side comparison. And here we go. Just a little more detail of that crazy gold, or what was it, gold? I forget offhand. Metal disc that was in this being's hand. serving likely some function. What function that was, I would love to know. What do you think? What function do you think this dial or whatever this disc served? What are the implants? What do they do? Let me know your thoughts about that and every other thing today in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this wrap up, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure would appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. Also Discord if it's still functional. I've got to update that thing weekly. There's got to be a permanent link, right? All right, I'm still working on that. But yeah, join me on social media. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in an even bigger way, you could grab a coffee mug. See that sharp coffee mug? Or you could become a channel member, because channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos to check out on the channel, including several new playlists for you to explore, including one playlist about the UFO control group, another that's just UFO videos and evidence of aliens and even pictures and video of non-humans and that sort of thing. So go check out the playlist, have fun, let me know what you think about that all, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.